Hello, Leon here from backintelligence.com, where we help people manage their back pains from home as well as help them correct their postures. And today I have a slightly different kind of video. I'm going to be talking to you about the briefing that was done in the Economist January 18th to the 24th, 2020 edition. They wrote about chronic back pain, and I'm going to give you 5 key takeaways from this article here. Now, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, make sure you do so. So many of the key takeaways from this article are very much in line with what we talk about here on this channel, and we'll get to that. So let's start with the first key takeaway, and that is that x-rays are not a good predictor of what you need to do for your back pain, or it may not show the exact cause of why you're experiencing back pain. And it talks about how basically, 50% of the populations, if they do an MRI scan, which a lot of the doctors, prescribe still, even though we now know that looking at your back, looking at an x-ray can show spine abnormalities. So you can see bulged discs, you could see herniated discs, you could see slip discs, there's wear and tear in the vertebra and all that kind of stuff, but that does not always correlate with the pain that you are experiencing. So many of the people that see all those issues don't experience any pain at all. And then of course some of them do. But the point is that an MRI scan of your spine is not necessarily going to help you to figure out if you should do something about what you're seeing on that x-ray. So you have to be very careful about that, that there are still many people who have a lot of degeneration in their spine, but they have no pain at all. Okay, so be very careful if your doctor prescribes you an MRI and then somebody finds something on L4, L5. It does not mean that that's exactly the cause of your pain. It might be, but you might need to diagnose it further to figure out if there's anything other than that that could be causing your pain. So that's why diagnosis is so key. Let me do a quick reading about this here. It says here, disc degeneration is seen in roughly half of young and middle-aged adults with back pain, but also in a third of those with no pain at all. Some 40% of people with back pain have disc protrusion, a form of slip disc, but so do nearly 20% of people who are pain-free. And there's another stat here. It says here, according to the University of Southern Denmark, there is a broad consensus that about 80% of such scans are useless. Let's go to the second key takeaway here, and that is that they talk about how prescription drugs like opiates don't actually help back pain either, okay? And instead, they make you loopy and you get addicted to these drugs, but they don't necessarily help your back pain, and it just decreases your quality of life. So they talk about a specific patient here himself. Let me read you what he said here, what they said about him. They said, the next step was an opiate prescription to help him cope with the pain, but the pain persisted, and he found himself becoming loopy, unable to work or do much else. Mr. Moore, that's who they're talking about, who had been a painter, sank into depression. So as you can see, prescription drugs may not be the best option for you to deal with your chronic back pain. Still, many doctors out there prescribe opiates and other various prescription drugs for pain relief, not realizing that that may not be the best thing for you to do. And we'll talk about some of the better things you can do, which they talk about here later on. Let's go to key takeaway number 3, and that is that surgery doesn't really help many of the back pain patients. And there's a lot of research that I've seen even before this article that already shows that many people have the surgeries and then 2, 3, 5 years down the line, they still have the pain. So the surgery should be avoided almost at all costs okay? Unless it's really, really necessary and somebody can prove to you that that exact thing is the thing that's causing you pain, then maybe a surgery will be okay, but we almost never recommend it. You should try all the conservative approaches that you can first. Now, here's one of the surgeries that they talk about, which is spinal fusion. And what they say here is spinal fusion of this type is a frequently used surgical response to back pain that is associated with the degeneration of spinal discs. In 2015, there were roughly 85,000 such surgeries in America. The company found that 2 years after treatment, 87% of the customers were still in pain severe enough for medication or some other treatment. 15% had more surgery. Can you believe that? Now, they also talk about how spinal surgeons sometimes don't look at the evidence. You know, they're just so focused on doing their procedure, what they learned in school, but oftentimes they don't take the time to reevaluate if their treatment is even necessary, if it's even beneficial. So that's why you have to be really careful to not seek surgery right away or almost never. Just be careful of that because, yeah, a lot of the surgeons just do what they're told in school. They don't necessarily know how beneficial it is. And I hope in the future there's going to be more evidence, more research that comes out so that the surgeons can really see that a lot of the stuff they're doing may not be working. Let's go to the next key takeaway, number 4, and that is that there's new research that's coming out, and I've seen already a bunch about pain science, and that is that some of the chronic pain that you're experiencing is coming from your brain. Obviously, it can be both the brain and there could be a physical cause as well, but the point is that usually your brain interprets the pain that you are feeling. And so, but a lot of people don't want to hear that. They just want to go under the knife. So that's kind of like a problem that we have right now in society, that a lot of people are not informed about how chronic pain works. And what they talk about in this article is that a lot of people go to their doctors, and even if the doctor is a good one and is educated, and he might tell them that, hey, what you see here on the x-ray does not mean necessarily that that's what's causing your pain, and that perhaps you need to work on stress reduction. Perhaps because you're stressed at work, or maybe you have a bad relationship with someone, that could also be contributing to your pain. And so there's a lot more to chronic pain than just a physical cause, just something that you see on an x-ray. There's also pain sciences, and we're going to be talking more about pain science in the future here on this channel. There's a lot of research that's coming out about it that's very interesting, but keep that in mind. Are you open enough to realize that all psychological health can also affect your feeling of the chronic pain, and you almost need to start treating yourself holistically. And this brings me to key takeaway number 5, and that is what is proving to be effective, and that is exercise. That is reducing stress. That is learning how to cope with your chronic pain, being patient, not focusing all your energy on the pain, but instead meditating and breathing and working on your psychological health, as well as daily exercise, stretching, and all the stuff that we recommend here on the channel. That does seem to help, but a lot of people are still not getting insured to go to a yoga class or something like that. So that's the reason why these things are not as popular. Besides exercise, some of the things that they say could be effective at reducing stress would be acupuncture, yoga, tai chi, and other psychological therapies. All right? So that's my final key takeaway here, that make sure you keep working on your exercise and stay active, not try to seek a pill or a surgery for something that you could be treating naturally. All right, and that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed these 5 key takeaways according to The Economist. Again, this is just one paper, right? So keep that in mind. There's a lot of different sources out there, so make sure you're always expanding your knowledge and not just looking at one thing. But I think these key takeaways are very important, and they seem to be true based on some of the other research that I've seen. So thank you guys for joining me. Now, if you'd like to work on some of your low back pain, we do have some great core exercises that you can get a free PDF of. And these are safe for your spine core exercises that work on your deep core muscles, which can help support your low back muscles, reducing your pain. So if you'd like to get that free PDF of those exercises, there's going to be a link to get them somewhere here on the video or down below in the description. Just go to that page, enter your email, and we'll send you that PDF right away.